It is the political equivalent of a Julius Caesar moment. For nearly 5 years, J.D. Vance served as the loyal second-in-command. He was the fixer, the figure dispatched to cable news studios to justify the unjustifiable, to soften MAGA's sharpest edges for jittery donors, and to stand quietly beside the president as the nation unraveled. But this morning, Saturday, January 31st, 2026, that quiet loyalty finally cracked, addressing the disastrous ICE action at Holy Grace Tabernacle in Dallas, where federal agents released tear gas against children hiding in a church basement. Vance uttered a word that is radioactive inside Trump's inner circle: mistake. He described the raid as a catastrophic operational failure. He acknowledged that the administration has lost control of the narrative entirely. And in the most explosive segment of the audio, he told a room packed with shaken megadonors that he is personally intervening to contain the fallout because the current trajectory amounts to political self-immolation. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't careless wording. This was an act of rebellion. President Trump, already barricaded inside the residence following the Davos embarrassment, the Japanese bond market collapse, and the implosion of Florida polling, is said to be enraged. Behind closed doors, he is calling Vance a serpent and a traitor, but he is also confronting an unsettling fact. He cannot remove the vice president. In this extended deep dive special report, we will play the audio that is actively dismantling the Trump presidency. We will expose the parallel campaign J.D. Vance and his Silicon Valley benefactors, spearheaded by Peter Thiel, have been quietly assembling for months. And we will explain why this rupture represents the first lawful move toward triggering the 25th Amendment. The captain may be sinking with the vessel, but the first officer has already boarded the lifeboat. To understand how severe this betrayal truly is, you need to examine the backdrop. While Washington, D.C. was immobilized yesterday by nationwide Make America Go Away demonstrations, J.D. Vance discreetly slipped into Ohio. The public schedule read, family time. The reality was a frantic, closed-door crisis meeting with Republican megadonors at a private estate in New Albany. These are the financiers of the super PACs, oil barons, crypto billionaires, industrial titans, and they are panicked. The Japanese bond meltdown wiped out fortunes overnight. The Canadian blockade is choking supply lines, and the Holy Grace raid is alienating their own Christian employees. They demanded clarity, and Vance delivered candor. The recording was leaked to Politico and the New York Times by a donor inside the room who believed the public deserved to hear it. This is the pivotal exchange. Donor: Mr. Vice President, we're getting crushed. The boycott is real. Markets are shaking. And watching federal agents storm a church in Texas that looks like tyranny. Is the president hearing anyone? J.D. Vance: I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Things are not going well. The Dallas operation was a mistake. A severe operational breakdown. You do not deploy tear gas inside a sanctuary. That's not who we are, and it's not what we pledged. Donor: does the president grasp that? Vance: the president is consumed by the fight. But when you're locked into battle mode, collateral damage gets ignored. That's why I'm stepping in. I've spoken directly with the Attorney General. We're reviewing tactical procedures immediately. We're going to stop the bleeding. If the current approach is a suicide pact, I won't sign my name to it. Let's unpack that. Operational breakdown. Trump defended the raid outright. He branded the pastor a trafficker. Vance just invalidated that defense. I'm stepping in. Not the president asked. Not we decided. He claimed authority above the president. He told donors he is now the effective CEO of the federal government. Suicide pact. That's the fatal blow. He reframed loyalty to Trump as political self-destruction. He gave donors permission to abandon the man without abandoning the movement. This leak was intentional. J.D. Vance is meticulous. He knew phones were present. He wanted this public. He wanted to contrast himself as the responsible adult, while Trump plays the erratic monarch. Inside the White House this morning, the atmosphere is described as combustible. Trump woke to banner headlines. Vance breaks with Trump. Vice President calls raid a mistake. For a leader who demands unwavering loyalty, this is unforgivable. Mike Pence refused to overturn an election, but he never publicly challenged Trump's policy decisions while in office. Vance just crossed that line. Sources say Trump attempted to summon Vance to the Oval Office. Vance declined. His staff informed the president that the vice president would remain in Ohio to reassure the base. That is a calculated power move. Trump cannot dismiss him. The vice president is a separately elected constitutional officer. Trump can isolate him, strip resources, bar access, but he cannot fire him. At 8 a.m., Trump lashed out on Truth Social. J.D. Vance is being misled by globalist donors. He doesn't know the facts about Dallas. The pastor was a criminal. J.D. needs to toughen up or move aside. I'm the president, not the donors. But the message landed flat. Defensive. This wasn't the scorched earth Trump of 2016. Trump understands that without Vance, he loses the Senate, Silicon Valley money, and the future of the party. And Vance understands it too. So why act now? Follow the money. J.D. Vance is a political creation of Peter Thiel and the PayPal mafia. His rise was underwritten by Silicon Valley libertarians seeking disruption, not total economic collapse. The nationwide boycott is draining big tech. The EU is threatening to suspend data flows. The anti-coercion instrument poses an existential threat to Meta, Google, and Palantir. Lose Europe, and Silicon Valley forfeits nearly 30% of its revenue. Industry insiders report that Peter Thiel and Elon Musk held a private reckoning with Vance earlier this week. The verdict was blunt. The Trump experiment has failed. Markets are breaking. The brand is radioactive. Preserve the asset. Vance is the bridge between MAGA and capital. And capital just ordered him to abandon MAGA's founder to stabilize the economy. His Ohio remarks were a signal to Wall Street. Don't dump everything yet. I'm taking over. And look at the markets this morning. Stocks nudged upward after the leak. Algorithms favor Vance. They penalize Trump. That's deadly for a sitting president. When Wall Street signals your replacement with green candles, time is no longer on your side. Now we turn to the constitutional lever in play, the 25th Amendment, Section 4. It allows the vice president and a majority of the cabinet to declare the president unable to discharge his duties. Until today, it was hypothetical. It requires a VP willing to lead. That signal has now been sent. Is Vance counting votes? Consider the cabinet. State, Rubio, marginalized and embarrassed. Likely yes. Treasury, rattled by Japan. Likely yes. Defense, furious over the Sarah Jenkins incident and military abuse. Almost certainly yes. Vance doesn't need to invoke it immediately. He only needs to imply it. He's telling Trump, let me run things, or I pull the pin. This is a soft coup. Vance becomes the functional president. Trump becomes a ceremonial poster. Agencies stop responding to Trump's directives and begin routing decisions through the vice president's office. We are witnessing the hollowing out of presidential power in real time. The Holy Grace raid was the catalyst because it fractured the base. Vance, a Catholic convert, understands the religious right far better than Trump. He knows that gassing a church nursery is an unforgivable line for evangelicals. By calling it a mistake, Vance aligned himself with the church over the state. He told Christians, I stand with you. Trump is chaos. That gives the base moral permission to abandon Trump without abandoning the movement. We support the mission, not the man. It's ruthless, Machiavellian. He's hijacking MAGA from its originator. Voters embraced chaos in 2016. In 2026, with $6 gas and nurses being shot, they crave stability. Vance sells MAGA without the madness. Internationally, the response is relief. European diplomats are reading the Ohio transcript like holy text. They see a crack in the wall. Maybe the trade wars ease. Maybe the Greenland threats vanish. Maybe the insults end. Reports indicate Germany's foreign minister has already contacted Vance's office directly, bypassing state. That confirms the shadow presidency. When foreign governments stop calling the president and start calling the VP, the transition is underway. What does this mean for late 2026 or 2028? The Trump-Vance ticket is finished. They cannot appear together. One praises the raid, the other condemns it. Vance is positioning himself now. If the midterms collapse, Trump will take the blame. Vance wants history to record that he tried to stop the bleeding. The White House is now a house divided, and divided houses fall. J.D. Vance surveyed the sinking Trump presidency, saw the iceberg, the boycott, the crash, the raid, and chose survival. He sacrificed the president to preserve the party. Cold, calculated, ruthless, and likely the most intelligent political maneuver of the year. Trump is now fighting on three fronts: protesters at the gates, collapsing markets abroad, and rebellion inside his own administration. History suggests he will not win any of them. Subscribe. We're monitoring the cabinet. If there's a sudden gathering at the Naval Observatory, the 25th Amendment is live. The betrayal is complete. The end game is underway.